What's up, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Dev and the Bear. Today we're going to be talking about UFC 276, which is going to be a really exciting card, I think, from start to finish. It opens up with some pretty good fights on the prelims. You have Jessica Rose Clark, which is a pretty notable name. But the one fight on the prelims that I'm really excited for, I think, is going to be the headliner for the prelims, or the early prelims, is Uriah Hall and Andre Muniz.
That's a great fight.
That's a very great fight. That's very the classic, which we say this all the time, but it's the classic grappler versus striker.
Yeah.
Andre Muniz is breaking people's arms, and Uriah Hall is breaking people's everything just with his body.
I mean, yeah. I forgot he broke Chris Weidman's leg.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that. I just think about what Uriah Hall should have been and wasn't. It's just, yeah, man. Right now we have Uriah Hall, who's kind of in limbo right now. He's always kind of been in limbo, though.
Yeah.
You know?
He wins some and he loses some.
Yeah, he loses the ones that
often.
matter.
Yeah.
And he just never really reached that full potential. But you know he's dangerous. Like, that dude, what he's done to people is insane. And you got Andre Muniz, like you said. That dude is fucking taking limbs home with him. It's like, it reminds me a lot of watching Frank Mir when he got in the UFC.
Yeah.
You know?
Just instead of with legs, with arms.
Yeah, exactly. And so, well, he did break Tim Sylvia's arm.
Yeah.
So,
and Nogueira.
Yeah, he did break Nogueira's arm too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, it's just, this is a really fun prelim headliner. I'm looking forward to it. When it comes down to it, though, we have yet to see Muniz on the ground. I mean, I'm sorry, on the stand-up. We've seen him on the ground, obviously. But we haven't seen with his stand-up yet. But these fighters that he fights, he's able to get them to the ground pretty with ease, you know. Even he fought a striker in his last fight against Eric Anders, and he was able to get on his back, and he's able to get that arm again, you know. So with Uriah Hall, I really do feel like he's in a win-lose situation, you know. Like
I think it's the loss definitely outweighs the win.
Yeah.
He needs this win so that he can keep winning.
Yeah, to show
but
that.
If he loses, that's it, I think.
And that's what kind of sucks is, like, you know, it's weird to say that Uriah Hall, if he, like, is he becoming the middleweight's gatekeeper at this point, you know?
I don't even think he's a gatekeeper.
No.
To be honest.
I mean,
I think he's still held outside the gate.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, yeah, like, we've never seen him break that glass ceiling. Yeah. And it's crazy that we never saw him break that glass ceiling. Like, you know, we followed him his whole UFC career. And now we're coming in, and it's like, you know, he loses the ones, like his fight against Sean Strickland. It's like, how did you lose that fight? Yeah. Like, that dude did exactly
he played exactly what you wanted to do. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, that's exactly what I was gonna say. He did exactly what he wanted him to do, and he lost. And so I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so Uriah Hall, like I said, that's what I was gonna say. He's in a must-win situation. He has to win this fight, but then, you know, at this point with his age, and he's still in phenomenal shape for his age. He's still a very dangerous fighter, but it's like, you know, are you going to be just the guy that's like, okay, this prospect is well worth something, or are you going to be the guy just beating prospects?
Yeah.
You know, I think Andre Muniz could have easily been 2021 Fighter of the Year with his year. He was doing some phenomenal things. But I think Muniz gets past him, though.
I'm kind of leaning that way, too.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be a submission win.
Yeah.
I want to see a great knockout by Uriah Hall just because I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, it looks like one of those moments where just things are aligning for Andre Muniz. Things are not working out for you. It's just how it's going to be.
Yeah. It's just the way that it's just kind of the cards have been played out. It's like, I think Andre Muniz could possibly be some of the future of the middleweight division, you know, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with him. But I mean, I think Muniz has it. But to start off the main card, though, you know, to get into what we're really here to talk about.
The prelims. It's still prelims.
Wait. I thought that was a headliner.
Early prelim
I look
headliner.
like an idiot right now.
So on the regular prelims, you have Jim Miller and Donald Cerrone, which is just weird that they're on prelims.
Yeah.
But that fight is going to be exciting, I think. I think if it were on a different card, like the last week's card, I would have said fight of the night, but for sure.
Yeah.
This one's hard just because there's so many great fights, but I think it's for sure going to be a really fun fight. I'm happy either way. I kind of want Jim Miller to win. More.
I'll be honest, me too. I think like going into this fight too, though, it's like there's history with this one. That's why I like this fight more than the Lozon fight. To be honest with you, I feel like it made sense. You know, Lozon and Cerrone.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They had never fought before. Crazy enough, like because you know they were both kind of running their divisions respectively at the same time, and when they were both at lightweight. But with Jim Miller and Don Cerrone, this is a rematch. I think from 2013, I believe.
Yeah,
or something like that. So I mean, it's a rematch. So there's history there. I mean, whoever wins this fight, I think has the most fights in the UFC. I think Jim Miller's already at first. I think but it's crazy to see that. I know Don Cerrone said he wants to hit 50 and then call it a career.
Yeah, so he's still. I think this is his 48th fight, or this is his 49th fight.
Something. I think he has 2 more fights. Yeah. I can't fully remember off the top of my head, but Jim Miller is having this crazy resurgence. I mean, this guy is starching people. Yeah. I mean, who would have thought that him doing as long as he has been? I mean, at one point, Jim Miller was gonna have to retire because we all thought he had Lyme disease. So I think he did have Lyme disease.
Yeah, he did.
And so, to see where he's at now, I mean, he's fighting, these young guys, and we've seen what's happened with some of these guys fighting, some of these older fighters fighting these young fighters, and it never goes their way. We've seen it with Clay Guida, BJ Penn. I mean, a lot of these lightweights. And I'm looking forward to this fight, though. I thought that fight was on the fucking main card this whole time.
Yeah, no, so it was prelim stuff.
Yeah.
But so we're talking about the old guys on the prelims.
Yeah.
Now we can talk about the young guys. You have Ian Gary versus Gabriel Green. I'm obviously going to be in favor of Ian Gary.
Yeah.
I'm assuming first round knockout.
I don't know who Gabriel Green is.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Don't know Gabriel Green. It could be his debut. If it's his debut, I assume it's like, hey, Ian Gary's kind of picking up some speed.
And I think it's kind of rightfully so, even though people keep talking about the whole McGregor connection and stuff. And it's really cool seeing that picture of him when he was a kid with McGregor when he just got into the UFC. It's always cool. It's like a feel good moment type shit. But like with Ian Gary, I think they're doing it right with him, kind of easing him in.
Yeah, because it'll be his third fight. And it's a newcomer.
Yeah. You don't want to push him too fast. How
crazy would it be if it's not a newcomer?
Yeah.
Gabriel Green's
like a
UFC vet and we're just retarded.
Yeah. Hey, man. Well, that's why we have a comment section to correct us. So.
Yeah. Comment section. Correct us, please.
Blow that shit up, please.
But I think opening the main card is going to be Brad Riddell and Jalen Turner. And that fight's going to be pretty insane, too.
I think that's the prelim headliner.
That's how hard to tell it is with these fights because they're all really freaking good.
That actually is the prelim headliner.
It is? Okay. Yeah. That one's really exciting. I think that one might be fight of the night.
I think so too. So like with Brad, I love Brad Riddell. I mean, that dude,
he's very fun.
He has a fun style, but he was also Israel Adesanya's kickboxing coach, which is crazy enough because you see the two guys next to each other, and it's like, how did this little guy teach that big guy this shit? But then you have Jalen Turner, who's back at lightweight, and he only has 1 loss since being at lightweight. That was against Matt Favola. Besides that, he's been finishing every single one of his fights since he's been at lightweight. He's a big lightweight.
He's knocking people out, dude.
Like he's starching people, man, and it's fucking fun watching it. And so I don't see Riddell struggling with him too much, though, considering the people that Riddell trains with. I mean, how tall is Jalen Turner?
He's tall. I want to say...
I think he's over 6 foot, right?
I was about to say he could be 6 foot, maybe 6'1".
Yeah.
But I think if he lands on Brad Riddell, Riddell starts having issues. Riddell's best bet is going to be leg kicks and using his kicks to keep his distance.
Yeah.
Because Jalen's going to be looking for that punch.
Yeah, which is like, another thing for Riddell to win this fight. He's going to just make sure he has to have his defense on point.
Yeah.
Jalen Turner has showed that his power has translated from welterweight to lightweight, and it's prevalent. That dude is fucking people up, and it's fun. I don't know. I like Brad Riddell, but I didn't like it when this fight got made, though. Oh, I forgot. I think I'm picking Jim Miller for the Cerrone fight.
We kind of want him to win more.
Yeah, I didn't know if we actually made a pick.
I picked Jim Miller too. Yeah,
thinking out loud. So, but with this fight though, I think Jalen Turner takes it.
You said that Brad Riddell doesn't have any issues.
Well, I think, but the thing is though, is like, I mean, there's training with somebody and there's fighting against it, and there's a difference, I mean, you look at, so like we talked about it, like you could train for the takedown, or if you're going against a wrestler, but it's like people training for the takedown when they used to fight Kamaru Usman. Yep. Even you get in there and you finally feel that strength, or like Chael Sonnen whenever he fought John Jones. Chael Sonnen has a large wrestling pedigree, and then he finally felt the strength of John Jones. Was like, holy fuck, that's a real thing,
Yeah, I'm giving it to Jalen Turner as well. Yeah. He's gonna have Brad Riddell probably in his face because Riddell's gonna want the knockout.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not trying to say anything about Riddell, but I don't think he's going to try to fight the smart fight. I think he's going to go in there and he's going to try to get the knockout. But I think in doing so, he's going to give Jalen Turner the opening he needs to get the knockout.
Yeah, and we've seen him give an opening before against Fiziev, you know, which is crazy enough because like that was a great fight. That was a fun fight. I remember when they made that fight, and I was pretty upset about that.
Fight, Brad Riddell's fight against was it Drew Dober on the Adesanya Vittori card.
Yeah,
that was the best fight of the night.
Yeah, that was actually Carlos's debut.
Yeah, that was his pro debut. We watched it on the way home.
Yeah, I remember.
Or on the way to your friends to watch the UFC card.
Yeah, I remember. I almost crashed the car because I was trying to watch the fight at the same time. Don't watch fights and drive. So yeah, I mean, I think we're both going Jalen Turner on that one. So on to the main card now. We have a great opener with Sugar Sean O'Malley taking on UFC vet Pedro Muniz, and I think this is definitely Sean O'Malley's toughest date to test. Toughest test to date.
Yep.
Fuck. We got it out eventually. You get the point. But yeah, like I really do feel that way. I mean, you know, we've seen a Sean O'Malley take on Cheeto Vera, but who Cheeto Vera is now wasn't who he was back then. You know, in the sense of like, you know, like Cheeto Vera is now finally being that killer that he knew he was in his mind, and he's achieving that. You know, but you get what I'm saying? You look confused.
But I think he was still who he was back then. It's just
he's just gotten better. What do you say?
He's gotten better. Plus, the matchups work out for him. I don't know. Anyway, Pedro Muniz is definitely going to be Sean O'Malley's toughest opponent. Yeah, just because of where their careers have brought them. And I think with Pedro Muniz and the power that he brings, it's not going to be... I don't think we're going to see a fight that we normally see with Sean O'Malley where he gets to pick his opponent apart from the outside. I think Pedro Muniz is going to get in close. What I'm curious is, will we see Pedro Muniz go for any takedowns? Because I think he's obviously going to be going for the knockout, but I'd like to see him go for a couple takedowns just to throw that in there to keep Sean O'Malley guessing, because that's going to probably stop Sean O'Malley from throwing those kicks.
Do you think that with Munoz's style, because I don't know much about his ground game, as far as I recall, because I really started keeping up with Pedro Muniz after the Cody Garbrandt fight. I hopped on the hype train, you know, and do you feel like because of Pedro with his boxing style and then, you know, trying to put some wrestling in there, it's going to be too one-dimensional for somebody like Sean O'Malley?
Not if you stick to your fundamentals. Fundamentals will carry you a long way. I'm not saying he needs to hold him down or even do anything on the ground. I'm saying catch that kick and take him down. I
mean, like in the sense of like, you think he's going to be more of like I wouldn't say just fundamentals, but too one-dimensional for somebody like Sean O'Malley. Like
no, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I would hope not. Anyway, I hope that he can go in there and get that takedown, because I think if he does get that takedown, then it really opens up his boxing. Yeah. But he's gonna have to mix it up if he wants to win, because if it's just his boxing, he's not gonna get in close and he's not gonna win.
He's giving up a lot of reach as well, and that's why I asked that, because like he's gonna go strictly boxing with a guy that's shown that Sean O'Malley has great boxing, you know, and we've seen in these knockouts that he has a really great straight right, and I would like to see Pedro Muniz win. I think it's not even about the hype with Sean O'Malley. Everyone's like, you just want to see this guy lose, and it's like that's not it at all. Like I just think, you know, Pedro Muniz has just had a bad match of opponents. Like you look at everybody he's fought, but up until since the Cody Garbrandt fight, he has fought like former champions or
he fights a long list of who's who.
Yeah, like let's see who is like, I know for sure he fought after the Garbrandt fight, he fought Aljamain Sterling, Jose Aldo. He fought Dominic Cruz as well. I mean, not in order, but he fought Frankie Edgar. I mean, there's so many people that he's fought to where it's like, dude, like you have not caught a fucking break, you know. And
he wants the smoke.
Yeah, and he's
give him the smoke.
I was pretty upset when he didn't beat Dominic Cruz, but I mean, it is what
Dominic
it is.
Cruz, man.
Yeah, it is Dominic Cruz.
But yeah, I want Pedro Muniz to knock out Sean O'Malley because I'm a Sean O'Malley fan. Yeah. I really want Sean O'Malley to rein things in, and he's always been a showman. Like, that's not in question. I wish that we could really start seeing him fight and focus on fighting. Yeah. I want him to be hungry again. So if he gets knocked out, I think he goes back to being that.
Yeah.
And we're all happier with the end product of what Sean O'Malley will be after a big loss.
Yeah, because he could be a top contender for sure. But if I think it's if he gets past Pedro Munoz, then I think that answers all the questions. He can handle top top contenders or top 10. And I think that shuts a lot of people because everyone's gonna say if he beats this Pedro Munoz, everyone's gonna say like, oh, we'll put him against this guy. But I think that eliminates people saying that, people that actually watch the sport saying that. But I think right now, like with where Sean O'Malley is at and with how he carries himself, it's like, okay, you need some humbling.
Yeah.
Like you need to start taking this serious, like you said.
Yeah.
Like I would like to see Pedro Munoz win. That's who I'm gonna go for just because I know that he can. But the same thing with Sean O'Malley though. Like you put him against one tough guy, and then he shows that he's better than what you thought he was. So if Sean O'Malley is able to pull the win, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm gonna go for Munoz as well.
It should for sure be a fun fight.
Yeah.
And then speaking of fun fights, the next one is Robbie Lawler and Brian Barberena.
Yeah.
Which is just two brawlers who are just gonna run at each other and swing.
Yeah.
We saw what Brian Barberena did with Matt Brown in the last fight. That was freaking nuts.
It could have been fight of the year up until the Teixeira fight.
And then Robbie Lawler, we saw his last fight was against Nick Diaz. Wasn't what we wanted. You could tell it wasn't what he wanted. So I think he might go in here and be like, okay, no, that sucked. I want a real fight this time.
I think he needs to at the same time, though. Yeah. To be honest with you, I think he needs to really just bite down on that mouthpiece and get at it to show that, he's not a slouch. Because his last fight, it came off that he was a slouch and you shouldn't be doing this anymore.
But the great thing is, both of these guys, that's how they like to fight. Yeah. Bite down on the mouthpiece and throw.
And I think right now, as in, with the mileage that Robbie Lawler has from his career, I give that advantage to Barberena, though. I feel like Barberena, we've seen Barberena get knocked out.
He's been around for a while too.
He has, yeah. But I mean, you look at
obviously not as long as Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I think Barberena is going to pull off the win with this one.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with the Matt Brown fight. Yeah. Matt Brown was in the fight the whole time, but just Brian Barberena was one step ahead in all the exchanges. Yeah. He just had he would get his punches there a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And I think it could be the same thing, but with Robbie Lawler, I think we should see a knockout either way.
Yeah, I think like you said, like with his, I don't know, just with his last performance, the punches didn't look like they were doing much. He looked slower and everything. Like in every department, it happens as you get older, of course, but it's like in every department he was missing a step. And I think against a guy like Brian Barberena, who's mentally in that fight and physically in the fight, I think that's a problem.
He might just need somebody to bring it out of him.
I mean, Dominic Cruz did. Look,
I'm talking about Robbie Lawler.
Yeah. What I'm saying, like, because like Dominic Cruz almost got knocked out by Pedro Munoz, and that's what knocked off that ring rust.
Yeah, I was very confused. I was like, then we'll never fight.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean that could be the case. So I don't think I could pick on this one. I do think I give an edge to Brian Barberena, but I think either one could get the knockout.
Yeah.
It's too close to really decide.
You're right. And so onto the mid card, middle of the main card.
You thought there was going to be a mid card slump.
No.
You're
going to, I mean, you got fucking Sean Strickland being Sean Strickland going against.
Who knows what that means anymore?
Yeah.
Because lately he's been fighting smart.
Yeah, that kind of bothers me a lot. Yeah. Because I'm like, bro, you can't sit there and talk that much shit and then be like, come on, don't be a pussy. But it's like, you're the one fighting like a pussy, dude.
You're sitting there poking jabs, backing up.
Yeah. And it's like, you tell people to meet you in the middle, but you're backing out of the middle. But I guarantee you this fight, he will not be asking Alex Pereira to meet him in the middle, though.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think he's going to try to fight the smart fight, and I think that's going to cost him. Like, for real, like, honestly, I think he's going to try to fight the smart fight against a guy like Alex Pereira, and he's going to get knocked out.
Yeah, because I'm not saying Sean Strickland isn't capable of being a versatile fighter. I just think he does something really well, and that's brawl.
Yeah.
He's a technical brawler. I'm not saying he's bad.
Yeah.
I don't think that he can utilize grappling as well as other fighters. And I think look what Alex Pereira did against Misha Serkinov.
Yeah. One
of the greatest grapplers in the middleweight division right now. I don't think that Sean Strickland can do that. He was a middleweight.
They fought?
Yeah. That was his debut.
No, he didn't fight Serkinov.
Did he? Was it? Yeah.
It wasn't Serkinov. some Argentinian guy.
Second fight.
Second fight was
Knocked him out with a
against.
flying knee.
It wasn't Misha.
Who was it?
I can't remember, but it wasn't Misha though.
Anyway, I don't think Sean Strickland's going to be able to grapple that way, and he's going to end up getting knocked out.
I mean, it's possible that he could if I mean, maybe he trains with Orlando Sanchez some more. Maybe
That's not going to happen.
No. But yeah, like we've seen, with it was Pereira's second fight was against not Bruno. It was against Bruno Silva, and Bruno was able to keep him against Cage, and his first fight was against that Argentinian guy, and he was able to, that first round he's able to get Pereira against the Cage, and it cost Pereira that first round, But with Sean Strickland, like you said, we never really see him go to the ground. We don't know what's going to happen with him. And I think it's going to be interesting to see, just because, everyone, when we talk about Alex Pereira, they always bring up the Adesanya knockouts. But if you just take away those two, that knockout and that decision win that he has over him, he had a phenomenal kickboxing career.
Yeah.
Like that dude's fought the who's who, and I think you need to look more at that instead of those two knockouts. Look at him as a whole. And as a whole, he's head and shoulders above Sean Strickland on the feet.
Yeah.
So
that one, I don't see that one going past the second round.
Yeah. I think Pereira takes that one. I really do. I mean, if Sean Strickland gets the upset, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we thought Uriah Hall was going to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Granted, Uriah Hall and Pereira, you can't compare them.
Should be able to.
Yeah.
But you can't.
Yeah. Well, it's, Uriah Hall can't live up to the hype, so.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll bring us to a long-awaited trilogy fight. Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. I don't know what's going to happen if Holloway wins. We're going to have to get a fourth fight.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point in making a third fight?
I like this fight. I like both fighters a lot, but I'm really pushing towards Volkanovski with this one.
He's, since they have fought, Volkanovski has looked better at finishing his opponents than Max Holloway has at being Max Holloway.
Yeah, which is weird because that one fight that he had after that fight was against Calvin Kattar.
Yeah, which he looked fantastic in.
Yeah.
But then you look at what Volkanovski's done after they fought.
Yeah.
It's against different people, granted. And I don't like MMA math.
Yeah.
So I think they make up for the same fight that they had the first two times, but I think Volkanovski gets the finish this time.
But I think also, though, is like you look at what Max, like, you look at his last fight against Yair Rodriguez. Yair's it's interesting watching him fight. Yeah, because like he can have a bad fight against one person and then have a great fight against somebody. Like
even in his bad fight, he could still win.
Like he did before we've seen it, and against what's his name, Korean Zombie. I was gonna say something else, but
Chan Sung Chung.
Yeah, and so obviously that's his name, but I mean everyone knows him as Zombie. Yeah. But like going into this fight though, it's like, we saw Max Holloway as human, and we have yet to see that with Volkanovski. Like I know with his fights against Ortega, he got put in a triangle and he got put in a guillotine and is able to fight out of both. So that's showing that, that always reminds me of that saying, like, gods do bleed,
Yeah.
But it's like with that, I think, we've seen Volkanovski come back, and then even in his last fight, dude, he looked so fucking great against Korean Zombie. And I'm sure Max Holloway would beat the shit out of Zombie too. I like Zombie, but let's be real,
Yeah.
So
poor guy.
Yeah. It just, so with that though, like I think with the first fight, I thought Volkanovski like clutched that one. Like he barely won, but he won. With the second fight, I thought Volkanovski won that second fight. I thought he won rounds 3, 4, and 5. The first 2 rounds went to Max. Max was piecing him up. But with this though, it's like we see Volkanovski is getting better every time he steps in there. While with Max, like we know how good he is, And I think when it comes to that, we know Max Holloway's not sparring anymore. Volkanovski's getting in with guys that are bigger than Holloway.
He's with is he with City or is he with
He's with Joe Lopez. Yeah, he's with the comedian George Lopez.
That'd be great though.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. I my brain says Volkanovski, my heart says Holloway.
Right.
Because I really want a four fight.
I don't think the UFC would
quadrilogy.
do it.
I really want it. And if Holloway wins, Like if he goes out there and he beats the crap
Yeah.
out of Volkanovski, I think Volkanovski's entitled to a rematch.
Do you think if they were to make like super featherweight classes or stuff like that, you know, like a 150 pound or like a 130 pound and shit like that, you know, you think that would balance out what the problem we're seeing though?
Yeah, because then Holloway won't have to cut so much to try
Yeah.
to make it there. But I also think Volkanovski could just step up and take that one too.
Yeah, like, and then it kind of ruins the whole double champ status thing, you know.
Yeah.
But also though, if you think about it, like you got look at the three-weight classes. You got flyweight, bantamweight, and featherweight. Their champion and their number one seed are guys who could literally fight back and forth for years,
Yeah.
and you don't know who the best really is. And so that's kind of where I feel like the lack of weight classes also kind of messes with that. Because Aljamain could easily go up to be 140 champion. He could be 135 champion. He's the 135
Well,
champion.
what would also help stopping these terrible decisions. Because you look at Brandon Moreno and I'm not saying they weren't close fights, but so I shouldn't say terrible decisions. But if people had an issue with the decisions, there's an issue. And with Moreno and Figueiredo, people had issues with the decisions that were made there. So now we're having to constantly see them fight. Holloway and Volkanovski, people had issues with the decisions made there, and we're having to see them fight for a third time.
Jan and Aljamain. You know? I mean, even bantamweight's stacked to the fucking gills right now, dude. Like, what are you gonna do with that weight class? You know. So I mean, it's just that's something more we can get into another time, though. I think that's definitely a great thing to talk about in the conversation. So on to what we're really here for. Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya taking on Jared Cannonier for the UFC middleweight championship. And as Adesanya described it, is that he's going to feel like Anderson Silva when he fought Forrest Griffin. And if you haven't seen that fight, check it out. If you have seen that fight, Anderson beat the shit out of him.
And what Cannonier said was if Adesanya tries to style bend, he's going to bend the bender.
Yeah.
Thought that was funny.
It was pretty funny, honestly. That's why I sent
Silly,
you the bender. Yeah.
But yeah, I like this fight a lot. I feel like Jared Cannonier has had this fight coming for a while now.
Yeah.
He finally got it, so he has to make good on it. Otherwise, you got to think it's probably going to be the last two fights of his career.
Crazy to see where he started to where he's at now.
Freaking heavyweight. He started as a heavyweight.
Yeah.
He was a pudgy heavyweight.
He was.
And now he's just a giant middleweight.
Yeah, he's freaking shredded. Like, you saw him even at light heavyweight. He was a pudgy light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And then he just gets his food right. He used to weigh 300 pounds.
I believe it.
Yeah. MMA On Point has a really good special about him. Like, there was like a top 10 list, and he's in there. He served in the military and stuff, and then talks about like later on he ended up weighing 300 pounds, and him and his wife were like, let's start getting in shape. And he found MMA, and that's where it just took off from there.
Well, I saw that Dan Hooker said he's a training partner with Adesanya, so he would know. But he was saying like, oh, this is just a big muscle-bound puncher. We've seen Adesanya against that before. Yeah. Do you think anything's different with Cannonier, or do you think that's exactly what it is?
I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, I think so too. And it sucks.
Yeah.
But I think there is kind of an X factor with someone being a muscle-bound puncher, just like with Francis Ngannou. And that's not to knock on Francis Ngannou's technique or speed or any of that stuff. But when someone is just known for their one-punch knockout power, there's an X factor with that I think that you don't get with a lot of other people. And that's the fact that at any point, the fight can be over. Yeah. And if Jared Cannonier lands on you, the fight's going to be over.
100%. Yeah.
And
I've seen it.
I look at Adesanya and I've never been like, oh, he's skinny, oh, he's small, he can't take the power of fighting someone like this. Yeah. This is the first time I'm like, I don't know, man. Cannonier hits really hard. Yeah. I don't know if Adesanya is going to be able to hold up to that.
It's crazy that we've seen his power translate so well from heavyweight, considering that, because most guys, when they lose the mass, they lose the power.
He has not lost that.
No, it's stayed there. It's like, he's just a naturally hard hitter. And I think that's, with Adesanya, I mean, you can only say so much. Like, we've seen how great he is, you know.
I'd like to be seeing better from him. These last few fights are pretty
lackluster.
Yeah.
They really are, though.
Even the Robert Whittaker fight, I feel like Robert Whittaker was trying, and it just didn't happen for him.
And Adesanya wasn't trying nothing. And it's like I understand, like we talked about this before with his last fight. It's like, I understand that you're the champion and people have to go out and prove that they beat you. But now it's like you almost have a John Jones mindset of what you're doing, and that's the guy that you're shitting on all the time. You know,
Yeah.
John Jones. I believe like the only like title fights he ever looked good and like looked dominant in were the DC fights and the Gustafsson fight. Besides that, every title fight he's had hasn't been the Lyoto Machida fight in
Vitor?
the Vitor. But name every other fight after that's like fucking half of his. Never mind.
Yeah.
This completely proves my point wrong.
You just hate him. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
You sound like DC right now. You're so biased.
Yeah, you should too.
For what?
He beat up his wife.
What he did in the cage? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about him being a fighter.
But okay, so you look at his fight against like Thiago Santos, like
we'll stick to the matter at hand with Adesanya.
Okay, sorry, but yeah, I don't know. Like with Adesanya, like with how good he is, we know he's great. We know he's an incredible fighter. Is he at Anderson level yet? No, I don't feel like he is. But I think with how much better he is than these guys, it's like these fights have been pretty lackluster. Like I could tell you, like there's only been one title defense he's had where I'm like, dude, he beat the shit out of that guy.
Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what and they talk about him being a muscle bound fighter, with Cannonier, but look what happened with Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero hit him one time and swelled up his eye.
And Adesanya was terrified to go against Romero after that.
Yeah, didn't do anything.
That fight was ridiculously boring.
Yeah.
I streamed that fight illegally. Yeah. I was so glad I did.
Dude, calm down, man. The feds are watching.
Oh, yeah, the feds. Yeah. I have to go on the lam.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, this fight should be very exciting. This whole card should absolutely be very exciting. I really do think that out of all the heavy hitters, Jared Cannonier probably has the best chance at beating Adesanya.
Yeah.
Just based on that. But I do think Cannonier has a little bit more than that. He's going to have a lot more reach than a lot of Adesanya's other opponents will have.
Yeah.
I know Adesanya uses his reach really well, but will he be able to use it as well against someone who's just that much bigger than him? We saw he couldn't really do it with Jan.
Yeah.
Cannonier's about the same size as Jan.
A little smaller.
Yeah, he's a smaller weight class, but he's about the same size as Jan. So I think we'll see Adesanya struggle at some point in this fight.
I would like to see it just for the fact that I like Cannonier.
Yeah.
I think it's a great fight regardless. Like Cannonier's been the dark horse of the division, So yeah, like so he kind of like with that he's just kind of stands out. He's always stood out. He's never been like the what's it called? What am I trying to say? I was thinking about the Forrest Griffin fight we were watching. So it's just like with this fight though, it's like, what exactly is going to happen with this? Like with Adesanya, it's like, you're always going to expect him to be an amazing fighter. He's always going to put on a great fight. So it's more of what is Jared Cannonier going to do? Because everything that you can say about Adesanya has already been said.
Yeah, and at this point with his fights, that's what it is. What is the opponent going to go out there and do? The challenger, because Adesanya is going to clearly just do his thing, chill.
And that just shows how great he is.
Yeah. So I if I had to choose, I'm going to go with my feelies, and I'm going to say Jared Cannonier, because I really want him to get a championship.
Yeah.
After everything he's been through, it'd be nice to see.
And like I would have to agree with you just for this fact that it's like, even if somebody is to say, oh, well, y'all are wrong, it's like, well, what did you expect? He's such a heavy underdog. Why not go for him? It's like placing bets on these fights,
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, dude, like, it's like anytime you go pick anything against like Valentina Shevchenko is another example. It's like, I'm going to go with the other one because this girl's going to win.
Think about all the people who picked Pena over Muniz. You think they actually thought Pena was going to win? No, but it's cool when you get to be like, look what I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going Jared Cannonier. I really hope he gets the win. I hope it's a ridiculous knockout for the same reason that I hope Pedro Munoz gets a knockout. One, I want Cannonier to look really good. Two, if Adesanya can kind of snap out of it, get a challenge, maybe kind of reawaken him. That'd be cool.
Because like I with him, he's like, I'm clearly beating these guys. It's like, but are you
he's bored?
I
don't blame him.
It's very obvious. I think he even said he's bored. Like, and it's shown in his fights, and he said that too. Speaking of which, though, did you see the new challenge or tournament they have on Verdict? No, winner gets $1,200.
How many people are in it?
A lot. Like,
go all underdogs,
dude. I've thought about it. Like, it's not expensive to get into it either. So
$10.
like 15, I think. So
That's not
I'm
bad.
thinking about doing two of them and then just being like, hey, like one underdogs and one like obviously who I'm gonna pick. So yeah, y'all check out the Verdict app if you want to win a little extra cash. This is fun. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they just started a new thing with tournaments where you can put actual money into it now and win a lot of money.
Yeah,
depending on which tournament you choose. But it's usually low betting, so it's pretty cool.
yeah, it's just something fun.
Yeah.
You enjoy watching the fights if you want to make some extra cash and at least try to win your money back. That's always fun for me. You know.
Yeah, that's UFC 276. Should be potentially the best card of the year, which is crazy to say after a couple weeks ago, the last card we got.
Yeah.
But hopefully we continue getting spoiled with these fantastic fights.
We see some fireworks on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, let's go.